Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. First of all, I hope you all had a fantastic Christmas and an early Happy New Year to you all. It's the 30th when I'm recording this. I know nobody can do anything, especially after today's restrictions. More restrictions applied. So stay at home, stay safe, but Happy New Year to you all, and fingers crossed 2021 is the better year. Let's talk about something positive, and let's talk about my quickfire thoughts or my eye catchers over the last 3 or 4 days, where we've had some excellent racing and lots to talk about. So I am going to split this into 2 videos. The first horse I want to talk about is Star of Cashel. Now, Star of Cashel was a 3-time winner on the flat at Naas, Roscommon and Killarney, and made his hurdles debut on Saturday, at Limerick in a 2-mile 3-year-old race. And off a break of 160 days, I thought he ran well. Look, he's not going to win a Triumph Hurdle or even a Fred Winter, but he's definitely one that I think can pick up races along the way, and hopefully as a juvenile, maybe towards the back end of this season, where once he's had a couple more runs, got a bit more experience. I thought he ran well for quite a long way. He was nudged along a bit, didn't jump amazing, but I think he'll definitely improve. And the fact that he's won 3 times on the flat shows that he can win races and does know where the finish line is. So he's just an interesting one that I don't think we'll see him at the top festivals, but I do think we'll see Star of Cashel win a race this year. And I'm prepared to add Star of Cashel to my Nagme. The second horse I want to talk about is one that I think will be seen at the festivals, and that is Saint Sam. Now, Saint Sam ran well on debut when sent off the 4-5 favourite. Finished second, but got beat by Zanahiyr, and finished 4th at the weekend when once again beaten by Zanahiyr and a couple of others. I think it was a really strong race. Obviously, Zanahiyr is favourite for the Triumph Hurdle and quite short price favourite. Saint Sam, I'm hoping, can have another run where they get beat and then could end up in the Fred Winter. I think it's foolish for them to go for the Triumph. He's been beaten by the favourite twice comfortably. There's no reason to go for the Triumph. I don't think they're going to reverse the form. But if you watch his race on Saturday, there was very much... He was caught on the inside and then couldn't get out, and eventually did and had to switch widest of all and then finished quite strongly. If he had got a run, I think he finishes second. He finishes second to the favourite of the Triumph Hurdle twice. And suddenly people are going, wow, he's a great each way bet in the Triumph. Which is why I'm kind of hoping they might end up running him in the Fred Winter if they can get... they could try and run him in a novice hurdle next time against older horses that are probably a bit better, get him beat again, and hopefully end up off a nice handicap mark. He's definitely one I think you should add to your Nagme. Talking of adding them to your Nagme, all of these horses are going to be underneath this video, so you can quickly click on their name and it will take you to their race history page like I'm on here. The third horse I want to talk about is a horse called Falco Blitz. Now, Falco Blitz finished second at Kempton when I thought he wasn't particularly fluent early on. He was off the bridle with about a mile to go, and he never really hit any of his fences off a long stride. All of them he was having to shorten up, and he was going more up than forwards. So to finish second, I think he's done well anyway. And if you actually took the winner out, he was a very impressive winner. Now, I don't think he's not going to win loads and loads of races. He's not going to be a Ryanair horse or a JLT novice horse. But I do think his mark is workable. He did go up £2 for his run. He went up to 132. But as we've seen here, he finished second and fourth in good handicaps, I thought, at Cheltenham. In 2019. And there's a race on the 30th of January. This race here, this 2.5 mile novice handicap, that I think will suit him perfectly. Now, if we are to believe Nick Henderson, who says his horses aren't quite right, to have finished second, it was probably a very good run then. And I'm quite keen on Falco Blitz in another handicap next time out. Especially if it's this one at Cheltenham. Moved on to back to Leopardstown, where Big King finished second in a 2 mile handicap. when I thought he was given a lot to do. He was held up right out the back. Even turning for home, he hadn't really made any ground. And he started to make ground around the outside of the field when the winner, Dysart Diamond, took his ground. As Big King came to move out, Dysart Diamond held him in, went past and was gone. And that just stopped the momentum of Big King, who's really starting to pick up. After the last, when it was clear he wasn't going to catch the winner, the jockey didn't go too hard on him. And I think he would have gone a lot closer. If he'd got that run at the crucial time, but also if the jockey had really tried after the last. Now, he went up £4 for that race, up to a mark of 119. I wouldn't be concerned about the £4 rise. I think he can certainly win again soon. And he could come back in February, back to Leopardstown for the Ladbrokes Hurdle, which is on Saturday the 6th of February. I've got it here. It is this one here. Saturday the 6th of February. It's worth a lot more money, a lot more prize money. And if they didn't really want to win this race at Leopardstown, they just wanted to see how he acted on the track, it worked perfectly. Only went up £4. I definitely think Big King is ahead of his mark and can win a race very soon. Win another race very soon. Moving on and back to Kempton, where If the Cap Fits ran a really eye-catching race. He clearly found the 3 mile at Kempton too quick for him. And he was, really struggling and looked like he was going to finish tailed off or even pull up. But his jockey never gave up. Daryl Jacob just kept wanting to nudge away and push away. And it wasn't until after even jumping the last that he really picked up strongly and finished, he finished best of all. Now, for me, I think he's just getting older. He probably doesn't want this 3 mile trip at Kempton. He wants further. He might want a bit more cut in the ground. But I would like to see him potentially running a handicap now. After finishing third, the handicap had dropped him £8 to 152. Now, obviously, the 160 mark had been achieved over hurdles, and he's not shown that yet over fences. But dropping to 152 now means he can get in handicaps. And there's a couple that really stand out for me. There's the Ultima, the 3 mile 1 handicap at the Cheltenham Festival. And there is the 3 mile handicap at Aintree, where obviously If the Cap Fits has won a Grade 1 hurdle. I think these both could be races that they target, especially as it's owned by Simon Monier and Isaac Swade. Last year they had Kildesart finish second in the Ultima, so they'll want to go one better. And 2 years ago, Kildesart won the 3 mile handicap at Aintree. So I think there's 2 races that hopefully the owners like. The horse could now run in. It should suit. So if the Cap Fits was mine, that's definitely where I'd be going. And I think he's one to keep an eye on. The next horse that I want to talk about is Spirit of the Games. Now, we know Spirit of the Games is a Cheltenham horse. He wants 2.5 miles. He wants that stable plate in March at the festival. And he dropped another £1. He's now starting to get well handicapped for me. I mean, if you finish second over 2 mile 4 in 3 of your last 4 runs, what was the need to step up to 3 mile? There wasn't. The only reason for that is they knew that he would travel quite nicely and he would drop away at the finish. He dropped away at the finish and the handicapper dropped him £1. The handicapper has given them an excellent chance. He's not been beaten far in those races that he's finished second. So I really think that was the plan, to get him another £1 off. And it wouldn't surprise me if we don't see that horse now until the Cheltenham Festival, where if he runs in the stable plate, I think he's got an excellent chance. We know what he did last year. He finished 6th, despite everything going wrong. He ran into the back of a stablemate. He jumped poorly. He went down the inside and got stuck a few times. And he finished a never near a 6th. So he's definitely one on my shortlist for the Cheltenham Festival. That £1 off is very nice. Janadil. Janadil's Albert Bartlett 5th is obviously working out really well. Time Hill was in it, and so was Monkfish. Both of them look very good. Latest Exhibition and Fury Road were the other 2 in front of him. Now, as you know, I believe he only ran in that 3 mile Albert Bartlett, because they had all the others covered. When I say they, I mean JP McManus. He won all of the handicaps, or most of the handicaps. I think he only lost the Martin Pipe. And he didn't want to run him in the Supreme, and he didn't want to run him in the Ballymore. He's come back out this season. He won a beginner chase at Naas. Fine. They then stepped him up to, I think that was a Grade 1 company. Let me just load it up. Just going to throw it on the other screen whilst it loads. They ran him in this race at Limerick. It was a Grade 1. And I just feel they'll now know that he's not Grade 1 company. But he is handicap company, and he is a good handicapper. He's currently got a mark of 145, and I think that looks very, very appealing. There's a 0 to 150 on the Saturday the 6th. Over 2 mile 4, I think it is. Actually, it might be over 2 mile. I think it's over 2 mile. Now, he's been strong in the finish over 2 mile on these races. He's beaten the likes of Kiel Dinej. He beat Build Me Up Buttercup. He had some really good handicap form. So, if they drop him back to 2 mile, off his 145 mark, I think he will have an excellent chance. There's a 0 to 150 at Leopardstown on the 6th of February, or they could save him for the Grand Annual. Now, if he runs over 2 mile, you'll know he'll be strong at the finish, and I think he's definitely one to keep an eye on. If you haven't already got him in your NAGME, I recommend adding him to your NAGME. The next horse I want to talk about is a horse called Southfield Harvest. Now, he's clearly very lightly raced. He's certainly going the right way. I think he kind of bumped into one at the weekend. But he ran a really good race. He was tough at the end of the 2 mile 5 trip. He's won over nearly 3 mile, and I think this 2 mile 5 was probably just on the short side for him. He was raised £5 for that second, and normally that would be a bad thing. But in his case, I think it was perfect, because that now gets him in the Pertemps Final, because this was a Pertemps Final qualifier. Interestingly, his dam is Shamos Royal, who was the same dam for Southfield Theatre, who finished second in the Pertemps Final behind Fingal Bay, having qualified at Wincanton, which Southfield Harvest did, and was trained by Paul Nicholls. There's so much to like about that, so many similarities to Southfield Theatre, and because he's been raised that £5, he should now get in the final. Normally, going to a Pertemps Final, you don't want to be winning, because they're horses that they try and just about qualify, 4th or 5th, side of Burley style. Southfield Harvest needed to go very close, and I think that's why even when the winner came past him, the jockey kept riding Southfield Harvest and kept trying to keep him as close as possible. And I think they'll be very, very happy with that £5 rise, despite it being a rise and not a win. Moving on, we have a horse called A Wave of the Sea. A Wave of the Sea was a Grade 1 winner as a juvenile, but his form over fences has been a bit indifferent. And he kind of ran a little bit of an eye-catching race when 5th at Leopardstown, when he looked like he was struggling. He got a bit outpaced, but ran on quite strongly. And he was sent off the 11 to 2 favourite, which is always interesting. Now, I think we'll see A Wave of the Sea back at Leopardstown, up in trip to 2 mile 5 on February the 6th. Now, I've got a few already aimed at different races on February the 6th, so if they all turn up and they could all win, that would be lovely. I'd look amazing. So, that would be fantastic. I do really like him, and I think he's still well handicapped. He's only young. He's still only a 4, and he's running in 2 mile handicap chases as a 4-year-old. Now, he's clearly got plenty of experience, having come from the flat. He knows how to win races, so that's not an issue. He just wants a bit further now. And I'd be very, very much looking forward to seeing him over further now than 2 mile. And I think that's something that JP McManus will do soon. He's very much an owner that likes to run them over the wrong distance in handicaps that aren't worth any money, and then he steps them up to the right distance when the right race comes along. The final horse for this section is St Calvas, who finished 4th in the King George and I thought ran an absolute cracker. I did see after the race that people were saying, oh, that's a cracking race, King George now onto the Gold Cup. The King George is not a Gold Cup trial. The King George, I've always said, at Kempton, is like running over 2.5 mile. Why do they think he can get 3 mile 2 suddenly? I know it was off a layoff, so you could say, well, that's why he got tired. But he still got tired, and over a trip that isn't his trip. As in, he ran over 3 mile, he wants 2.5, that's kind of what it worked out to be. He'd been running over 2 mile, he finally steps him up to 2.5, and he does, he runs a great race for second in the Ryanair. Why do we need to think about going for the Gold Cup now? Why do we want to step him up even further, having only previously ran him over 2 and we've just gone up to 2.5? That race at Kempton was another 2.5 race, and I hope to see him at Ascot on the 20th of February running in the Ascot steeplechase. The 2 mile 5 at Ascot, and I think that will set him up perfectly for the Pertemps Final for the Ryanair. If he does do that, I think he'll have a great chance in the Ryanair. I know the Irish look strong. Are the Irish going to be allowed to come across and race at Cheltenham? We don't know at the moment. So yeah, they are my horses for the first part of this Quickfire Thoughts. My second part will be recorded straight after this, and hopefully by the time you see this first one, the second lot will be available. So thanks for listening, guys. Once again, Happy New Year to you all. We do have some exciting things coming for RTR, or Rating the Races, so keep an eye out for them. As always, feedback and suggestions are greatly appreciated. Thanks, guys.